Welcome to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So, stay with us as right now we present. Welcome to the show, everybody. We have got a tremendous author to talk to today. She is a worldwide person of note because she's been all over the world. She started off in Afghanistan, right about the time that she was a child, right about the time the Russians were there, and she's got some incredible stories about that, and also her migration to Canada and what she's been doing since. Her poems. She's got a book out. The name of the book is A Quest for Identity. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to try your first name, and then you can give us the last couple. Parastu.
Perfect. Perfect.
Parastu.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay. And your middle name is and your last name, please.
Ahang Mehdawi. I know it's very long, but it's Ahang Mehdawi. You can go either with Ahang or you can go with Mehdawi.
I'm going to go with Para. That's what I'm going to go with.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for inviting me for your show. I'm very excited and thrilled to be here and talk to you about my book.
You know, and just so everybody knows, it is a little bit dark in her world because she can have migraine headaches, and I don't want her to have. So we're going to keep it kind of casual and kind of cool. Speaking of being casual and cool, I would like to introduce a really good friend of mine who is very bright and does remarkable work for me, but she also has wanted to talk to you about the things that you are passionate about as well. And they're going to bring her on right now. Her name is Holly Berry. And Holly, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
I am good. How are you doing?
Doing just awesome, thank you. I went to the dentist yesterday, and but I'm surviving, so that's good.
I am amazed you're already being able to talk after all that. Good job.
Well,
good job.
Yes, indeed. Well, and and before you got here, Parastu is her first name. I can't begin to pronounce her last name, but she's going to say it again.
Parastu Ahang Mehdawi. It's fine with me. You can call me Para. You don't have to go with my last name. I'm perfectly fine with that.
That is very kind of you.
Thank you. I know it's complicated. It's a very long last name. I won't blame you, but it's fine. Just go with Para. I'm fine.
That'll guarantee that Kevin will probably say it right 90% of the time.
You are correct, my dear. You are correct. And with the way we started out, Holly, was we were talking a little bit about her background, that she grew up in Afghanistan and migrated to Canada and stuff. But she was in Afghanistan when, prior to, for those of you who need a history lesson, let me give you a little quick one here. Prior to the United States being in Afghanistan, the Russians were in Afghanistan for almost a dozen years, I think, and they eventually got thrown out and by the Taliban, and then the Taliban took control, and then of course 9/11 happened, and then we were so Afghanistan, and it's a tribal country, so they have several different tribes that are competing and fighting for goods and services and people and stuff, and it's a very difficult place to live, and they've been at war. Para, we talked about this last time, that Afghanistan as a country has been at war with itself for how many years?
More than 4 decades. Like 40 years, more than 40 years.
And you grew up in all of that.
Yes. Yeah.
What was it like growing up as a young girl in Afghanistan with the strict Muslim laws that they have?
Before I start telling you about my history and my background, I'm going to start with a quote from Henry David Thoreau. He is an American philosopher and poet, essayist, and naturalist. That it resonates with me so much, and that later on it will kind of connect with what I'm going to say. But I'm going to just mention this quote and then I'll continue. He says, "The greatest compliment that was ever paid me was when one asked me what I taught and attended to my answer." And I will get back to that, like why this resonates with me. I was born in Kabul, Afghanistan. I was 9 years old, 9 years old, when the war between communist government and Mujahideen started. And it was a totalitarian regime by communist government in Afghanistan. I remember I was a kid and my father, we were going to school, my brothers and I. My father gathered us and said that just remember, when you go to school, never mention your race, because we are from a Tajik descendants and we speak Farsi Dari. He said never mention that because of that regime. And then never mention anything bad about the government. It was that bad. Everything, we had to just put a blindfold and pretend everything is okay. Everything is nice. It's the best government. They do everything best for the people. We grew up in that kind of environment. And beside that, it was war. On top of that, it was like a male-dominated country, and the cultural difficulties and everything. We grow up in that type of environment. I finished high school, and because of war, the war dominated the rural area of Kabul, and then it was getting closer to the capital city, and people were panicking, and they were trying to escape and go wherever, to the neighboring countries, anywhere, just to survive. The people who could, they could fly. The people who couldn't, they had to live there in the mercy of God's hand. Anyway, and for women, like, it was really hard to live in that kind of situation. I finished grade 12 and I got engaged. That was kind of a way for me for my parents to send me abroad, to make me leave that kind of situation. And then my fiance was living in Germany, and I got engaged with him to leave that kind of bad situation behind, leave my parents and everyone to survive.
Did you know him ahead of time?
He was like a family friend. Yes, he was a very good guy, educated, and everybody said yes. I went along with everyone. I wasn't thinking, I didn't know, like, to be honest, these individuality, like you matter, or like as a woman, these things doesn't count in Afghanistan. It doesn't mean anything. It's just like, your parents, your elders, like they decide something. Even though my father is a very bright-minded person, like he fought for democracy for Afghanistan, for the country, but still like you're still living in that kind of culture. It's hard to just to people do, but I wasn't, like, I didn't have that courage to say no, I can't. But and I went to Germany, and then in Germany, when I arrived in Germany to meet my future husband, I could not fathom anything like happened. For first couple months, I was like so confused, and I did not know like what is going on. And finally, I said, I can't do that. I'm very confused. I can see myself as a wife right now. And my dream was back home because I was at university. My dream was like I wanted to go to university and finish university, have a higher education. I was a person like loved reading and writing. Like, you know, I built this dream in my mind, but I could never voice it. I could never voice it. Like, that's the dream I wanted to live. It was war. It was the culture. It was so many things. Yes, that's the story of my life. Like, and I was 18 when I arrived in Germany.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that you survived.
Thank you.
That, and it was pretty horrific. You know, Holly, we've lived in the United States our whole life. I don't think that we have a real conception of what, especially a woman, what they went through and are still going through in Vietnam or in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Para's insight and first person experience definitely has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
Which led us to the book, which is called A Quest for Identity. We're going to mention that quite a little bit because it's an important piece that you have written, and it's it needs to get out there. It's been out since June, and so we are going to talk a little bit about that and your writing style and what you do. Holly, do you have any thoughts or any questions to begin with?
I'd love to know at some point, wherever it fits in the best, how she made it from Germany to Ontario at some point and when.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, when I was like in Germany, after like I broke up my engagement, like even in the book, it says like, oh, I look at the mirror, I touch my collarbone and say like, I'm free. And I thought like, you know what, I can go. I'm in a Western world. There is no war. There is no restriction. I can go to university, and I can any dreams that I had, I can fulfill it here. But that wasn't the case because it's not that easy. I was a refugee, and I did not even know like where to begin, where to go to school. At that time, I was 19 years old, and it wasn't that easy. First of all, like to end up your engagement, I had to deal with that, and just to like in a strange land, just to get up and start everything. And I didn't know where and how. And my youngest brother, when he arrived, he was 14 years old. That's another story. Like my parents sent him overseas to survive war. And my oldest brother, he went to Germany 5 years before us, and I met him after 5 years. When my youngest brother came to Germany, he started school right away, and he went to school. And one of his teacher, she asked him that if he has any other siblings, and he says, yes, I have a sister. And she says, okay, then how come your sister is not coming to school? Is it something going on like because of like gender fondness in Afghanistan? Women are not allowed to go to school. Is that the case? And he says, no, my sister is 19 years old. That's why like we don't know if he's allowed to. And he's a refugee to go to school. And she's like, send her. Just tell her to come tomorrow and meet with me. And this is how it started. Like I went and met, oh, beautiful, amazing person. And then she led the way and then took my hand and introduced me to a school principal, and I went to school there. But then again, after 2 years, my landed immigrant application got denied, and I hit rock bottom, and it started again. And I didn't know what to do. And I met my husband, and he was in Canada. We got married, and I moved to Canada. That's the story.
That's a great that's a great story. You've been all over the place, and you've done
all over the place, all over the place.
And you've done really, really well. Now, I'm assuming since your dad was able to send his children overseas, that in his country he was a man of means, and he did well in Afghanistan. Is that so?
Yes, my father sent us away. He fought for democracy for Afghanistan. He was in a democratic party, and he wanted democracy for Afghanistan. And he believed that democracy will prevail one day in Afghanistan, and his children will return. And that's why he didn't want to leave the homeland. He sent us abroad in a stayed home. And that's another story that I went when I came to Canada. I got pregnant and I gave birth to my son, and my son was 9 months old. And the situation in Afghanistan, it got worse, and my parents had to flee to Pakistan. And I flew to Pakistan and I said, Dad, please accept the reality that this country will never get better, and please leave that country and come to Canada. And he did.
I was just gonna ask, did he go?
Yes, yeah. And my husband and I, we sponsored them, my mom and my father and my mom, and then they came to Canada. Yeah.
Well, it was so fortunate that he was a man of means and could do all of that. There are so many people in Afghanistan that are poor and don't have the ability to get out.
The fortunate people could fly out of the country, but it's like that's my heart breaks for all those poor people, like had to live in that kind of situation and still living. Yeah.
So let's talk about your writing. And Holly, I got to ask Holly because I'd never heard this term before. Are you familiar with the term prose poems?
I am. Yeah, I've taken some poetry classes.
That would probably help if I did that, but I haven't. So from your frame of reference, what is that?
Yeah, there's different styles. Some styles of poems will rhyme. Some styles of poems are free verse. Prose is another style of poem. And I was actually curious if Para would be willing to read any of them for us today.
That's nice. Yeah. I can do that if I can find one.
Yeah, take your time. No rush. We got lots of time. Yeah, there's on her website, there's a whole tab.
It is on
for
my
her prose
website.
poems.
Yes, I can go. It's easier to find it on my website. There is one that
there's also a tab for her book, and there's a tab for articles and a blog on top of it too.
I have been so busy, like I didn't get a chance to post on my blog, like it's back of my mind. I have written like a couple prose and articles. It's just like so busy. Life is like, it's really busy.
Kevin knows all about that.
What about being busy?
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I didn't tell you, Holly, because I haven't talked to you today. But yesterday I was on a podcast later on in the day, and she read my bio. And if you read my bio, it sounds like I can't keep a job.
We might have to work on that then.
I've done so many things, but it just like Para, that you keep going and you keep on going and you keep on going, and things just kind of develop. And she was a poet, and then that developed into the book, and she's going to school to learn how to write even better and more consistently and different things. And so she's very busy following her passion. And
yes. Yeah.
did you
I'm ready. I'm ready. This is a prose poem that I wrote. It also explains my name, which is a good thing that you would know what this name means. It's a combination of so many things, like I'm gonna read it. I'm not gonna explain. Like you will. Parastu, present. Parastu, Parastu, Parastu. It's first grade, and the echo of my name resonates across the room. I'm curious to know what my name means, asked my father. Father, can you please define Parastu? My father collects himself and earnestly states, Parastu is a bird that conveys the longing of spring in a distant time when the cold weather is replaced by warmth. Parastus start appearing on the horizon to fly back home. Once they locate Parastus, men start celebrating the beginning of spring in blossom. It has been years since Parastu left home for the ferocious winter and still flies from region to region to call it home and return with the spring. I think to myself, where is Parastu's home? Like frog, I plant my wings in the garden of life to blossom one love, then I call it home and return with the spring.
That's
That
beautiful.
yeah,
Thank
that
you.
was wonderful.
Thank you. Um, it's just the big parastu. It's a bird. It means a bird. And then in ancient day, people when parastus when they located parastu on the skies, they knew that spring is coming. That's the meaning of my name.
I like that a lot better than groundhogs.
I was just going to bring up Groundhog Day because in our country we've got this thing where this little rat. What is he? Is he?
It's definitely in the rat mole type family.
And if he comes out and sees his shadow, there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter.
Yes, I heard that 6 more weeks, and I'm like, oh, 6 more weeks.
And if he doesn't see his shadow, it means that spring is coming.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know, but that's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
a
you
really
so
good
much.
example as well, Kevin, for prose poetry. So
Yes,
you see
yeah,
how
that's
different
what
it
it is.
is from like Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, yeah,
Green
it
eggs and
doesn't
ham, you
rhyme.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. And I love the way that I love your writing style,
thank you.
because even in the book, Quest for Identity, you have a little snippet here, and it says, "My eyes watered with remorse. No one had ever asked me about myself before,
Yeah,
who I am as a person, as a woman. What did it mean? My
yeah,
happiness, my dreams, my longing. I suddenly felt a jolt of power in my hands. For once in my life, I had the freedom to do whatever my heart desired." I love
yes.
that.
Thank you so much. Now we go back to the quote that I read at the beginning. That is, like, when David Henry True like says, it's so important when someone's asks you, what are your thoughts? What do you think? It's so important, and someone's listens to you, like, because we as a human being, we all have thoughts and feelings. We just need to voice it, and then for people to listen to us. That's why, like, when my son asked me that question, that, Mom, what your heart desires, it's just like it felt like once in my life someone paid attention to my desire as a woman, as a human being that I matter. And that's not only the case for me, it's the case for all women in Afghanistan and so many other women around the world that who lives under, oppression.
Well, even I and Holly would know better than I, but even women in our culture, it's not as extreme, but there's still an underlying thing of non-equality, but
Of course,
between the sexes.
of course.
And I'm hopeful that in my lifetime that will all change, and that pay becomes equitable, and all everything that we do as people, not men versus women or that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's another message of my book. It's just we should start building bridges instead of like building walls. Like we should stop segregating people from gender, religion, like color. You know, we're all human beings, and that's why I call myself citizen of the world. Like Earth is my home, and I'm citizen of this world. Like they're all my people. And there's so many amazing people around the world. Like they're not even, we are not even related by blood, but they just stand up and help you, take your hand and help you. That's the chain of love. We should encourage that, introduce that more and more and more. The world is beautiful. The world of life is beautiful. Yeah.
There was a really nice quote you had on your website, and it was, "Science moves us forward in life, while art binds us together on Earth."
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I did. I wrote that 2 years ago. We went to France and Italy, and in Italy we went and saw that Michelangelo's statue, and there were so many people around that statue. That's I wrote that, you know, art binds us together. Yeah.
Is that the Statue of David?
Yes, yeah, Statue of David.
Yeah. Well, you know, there are a lot of people that just go there to look at David. I think I don't know. It's an amazing. Do you know how that came to be? The story goes that he had this hunk of marble that was twisted in the middle, and so it was considered useless.
Okay.
They couldn't use it for anything because it had this unique feature in basically in the middle of it. So he created the statue David, where his torso was moved a little bit in, and so it fit perfectly. So rather than something that is worthless and useless, it became a piece of art that is valued around the world by everybody. And I think that's a good way to look at how we are.
That's true. Hmm.
We are valued. We can be and should be, in my opinion, valued by everybody.
Yes, that's so true. That's so true. Yes.
So if someone was to play you and you put your life into a movie, who would you pick to play you in that?
I don't want it to, because she is a very, I really like her work. And when I was in Germany, that was the first movie I watched, and I really like her. It's Julia Roberts. And I even laughed at, that's amazing how you asked me that question. I laughed with my son about that. And I'm like, if one day they pick my book and say, we are going to make a movie about this, I would love Julia Roberts to play that. It's a little bit too much just, but I was in Germany when we watched that Pretty Woman. I watched it 3 times. Yeah, because she's amazing. And I just laughed with my son. I said, like, one day.
She really is amazing, and she would be perfect for your character as well.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
And great question, Holly. You know,
that was a great question, and I thought about it. It's so funny. Thank you.
so it's that brings up a whole different conversation, but we'll have that later, Holly and I, because but we value what you're doing and who you are, because you are really with your book and with your experiences, you can help some of us understand. And let me ask a question now. When we start talking about blood, blood relatives or a tribe, and why is it that some cultures value the blood that runs through your veins, calling it like if you're the Pashtun or you're one of the other tribes there. Why does that separate people so much? Is it just because of their philosophy and it's been that way forever, or is there something? Describe it. Do you understand what I'm trying to
Yes, yeah.
ask?
I would just say lack of education, lack of knowledge, you know, um, because if you have knowledge, if you understand everything, all these things become so like uh, without value, you know, like uh, I would say lack of education, because if you don't have education, that's why like you cling to those things, like you know, you're uh, um, your blood, like you know, you're, oh, I'm Pashtun, you're Tajik, or you're this and you're that. Um, like call people by race, call people by name. I would call it lack of education. That's all I can put my finger on. Other than that, I don't know.
Well, from our cultural standpoint, the United States is a melting pot, as is Canada. We were one of the last places that were settled, and so we've got all kinds of people here of different races, of different nationalities, where they came from, and so forth. Back there, you have got tribes that they look from the outside, they look identical to us as far as people goes, but they still have got wars between tribes
Yes,
and
that's
and
unfortunate. That's why like there's so much war around, like in my country. It's all because of these things. It's the tribal war. Like I'm this, you're that. Like it's just instead of like bringing people together, you're separating people by language, by gender, by um, race, all these kind of things. It's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
it's for someone like me, it's difficult to understand why.
Yeah, yeah. It's lack of education because um, that's all I can put my finger on it. Yeah.
Well, and over the course of time, I'm sure you've seen bombings and you've seen people hurt and that sort of thing in Afghanistan. Am I correct in that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have seen all of those. Um, that's why, like, there is a story in my book that one day, especially like you know, as a teenager, like uh, all the things that the teenagers are doing here, it's so easy for them, like, okay, like to walk with their friends to the swimming pool, to go to the theaters, to go like meet friends somewhere. Those kind of things, little things that it means nothing to a teenager here, it meant so much for me back then. um, there is also an anecdote in my book that um, we finished, my cousin and I, we finished grade 11 and we wanted to celebrate the end of the year. And we asked, even like we are like grade 11 and we are adolescents, we can go. But because of the situation, we cannot even go alone to a theater. We asked um, my aunt if she could take us to the theater to celebrate end of the year, and she agrees. First of all, she doesn't want to go because she knows the situation is really bad. Then we push her, like say like please, and then she takes us to the theater. We go to the theater. When we entered the theater, literally there was no woman. It was all male, no women at all. And my aunt panicked and pulled our hands and said, let's go home. It was that bad. It's just like, I cannot even describe it how bad it was. Like when I told my kids these stories, they could not believe, you know, how easy it is here. Like, you know, it's Friday night and friends, they just like, oh, let's go out to do this and to do that. For us, it was just I was always with my books, and my paper and pen and write poems. Like, you know, like for the past 2 years, how we have spent our days during pandemic inside our rooms. That's how our lives was back then.
Well, I for one am glad that you're done with that, and
Yeah.
you're out of there now, because there are lots of people there. As an example, Holly, you know, it's Friday night. You and your significant other want to go dancing. You can't do that there.
I wish he would dance. I had to trick him into it one time. I just like gave him a hug, and then the hug started rocking back and forth. And about 90 seconds into it, he's like, "Wait a minute. What's going on?" It's like, you tricked me into dancing.
That is so funny. You devious one, you.
I had to try.
But you had to wear what do they call it? The habib?
Hijab, burqa.
Yeah, the burqa that you had to wear from head to toe. No,
like that is started, of course, in rural areas. Like women, they had to wear it. Even now they have to. But at that time, we weren't. It was just normal clothes, like here, European. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'd love some more insight about the process when you're writing. What kind of things you like to do, or if you like to have the environment set up a certain way, what kind of things help inspire the writing?
Now, like I love nature. Nature like inspires me so much to write. Especially like now, like when in the morning when I wake up and I hear birds chirping, it just inspires. I always say like it just wakes up the poet inside me. It's like nature always inspires me to write, like especially when I walk by the lake, looking at the water, like the waves, all these little things by the nature, it inspires me to write. And then the other things inspires me, like when I see like a chaos going on around the world, it's just I get like so saddened. I pick up the pen and I write. Yeah, these things like both inspires me to write. Yeah.
What are some of the more challenging pieces of bringing the writing to life? So a lot of times people will have a certain feeling, but then to try to put words to it is a whole nother matter.
I'm sorry. Can you? I didn't. What's the question?
Sure. Yeah. What are some of the most challenging parts of trying to bring the writing to life, to put life into it?
The challenging. With my, can I give an example about my book?
Yeah.
Okay. This was like, it was so challenging because when my son said, "Mom, you love writing. Why don't you start write a book?" And it just gave me to think, gave me an idea to think back about all the people that came across my way and helped me and shaped me who I am right now as a person. And I sat down and thought about that. This is actually how the story started with Frau Boss, my teacher back home. And I said, okay, like I'm gonna write about her, like what an amazing human being she is, like, you know, like just to ask her student, like, do you have a sibling and it's a woman, bring her. I just wanted to write about her. And then I start writing and writing, and it was only 20,000 words. That's true story. Only 20,000 words. And at that time, I was taking online classes, creative writing classes. In one of my teacher, she asked me, she also praised me on my style of writing. She said, like, I like your style of writing. And I kind of opened up and I said, I am writing about, I have a project and I'm writing about my story and this is, and she's, oh, okay, I'm going to give you my email. If you want someone to look over your writings, here is my email, send me over. I got excited and I sent the 20,000 words that I wrote, I sent it to her. She read it and she sent it back. She said, Parastu, if you want to write a book, 20,000 words, it's not a book. It's a novella. You have to start writing more. And this is how it started. I'm like, okay, what else should I write? I just wrote about her. That's all I wanted to write about her. Nothing else, not about my life. I just wanted to write about her. And she is like, no, you should write about yourself. That's very important. You have to write about your culture, your story from home, and then Germany, and then Canada. This is like the challenge that I faced. It was that time. And then she said, like, go from Afghanistan, Germany, and then Canada. And I kind of said, like, I'm going to go with your idea, but I'm not going to go a linear way. I'm going to go non-linear way with the flashback and flash forward. She said, okay, you can do that, but you have to write more. Yeah, that was the challenge. Honestly, it was a big challenge. I thought like, okay, 20,000, I'm going to write about her. It's going to be done. She said, no, you have to write more.
So how many words did it end up being?
It went to, because it got edited 4 times, it went to 70,000 words and then went back to 60,000 and 70 and then 60. It just fluctuated back and forth. Yeah.
Holly, I apologize. I interrupted you.
Oh, yeah. No worries at all. I was just curious, that first teacher that asked your brother to bring his sister to school, if you could talk to her today, like what would you want to tell her if she was here with us today?
Oh, she is, I call her my mother. She's my mother. I send when my book, that's why, like, the reason I rushed for that book to be published, I just wanted to, when she's still, because she is not feeling well, she's ill. I just wanted the book, to present the book to her while she is here. If she was here, I would say, thank you so much. You taught me the chain of love, and I'm going to pass on. I'm going to continue with that one. And I'm going to pass on your message to the next generation.
That's beautiful. So, by the way, we've been talking to Parastu, and a bunch of other words that I can't say.
And by a bunch of other words, he means her beautiful long name.
Yes, her beautiful long name. And I want to talk about your website, which is a bunch of letters.com. So could you tell me, could you please describe your website, which is, and people can go there and find out all about you. They can order your book. They can do all kinds of stuff, and they can read your poetry. What's your website again?
It's www.parastuahangmehdawi.com. And my books are on Amazon worldwide, and it's on Barnes & Noble, Indigo. And I have, in 2 weeks, I have a book signing event at Indigo, downtown Toronto, Eaton Center. If anyone in Toronto is listening to the show, I would be delighted to meet you there.
And you spell Parastu Parastu.
Yes.
And Holly, we were talking before the show and before you got on that she is a writer by trade. She is learning and wants to be a much better writer. Social media and those sorts of things do not Really, she doesn't do a whole lot of those things. And so we talked about the fact that we have a production company and that we can help her do a few things. And she's interested in that. One of the things that I would highly suggest you look at is I want your book to do extraordinarily well, and have someone look up the domain name A Quest for Identity and see if that comes up. And if you have that ability to get that, it's like $25 or $15 or whatever it is, that would, and then put everything about your book in there. That would be a great way to get, for you to get the word out to those people who have no shot at pronouncing or writing or your last name.
you mean all the people like you?
All the people like me that there isn't a chance in heck that I'm going to be able to sound it out and to get it to the right place. So that's just a thought of it.
And to help support that as well, if you're interested in our giveaways, we actually do giveaways where we can help with social media clips and cards and videos, or personalized interviews where it's all about you. You can give us the questions even that you'd like us to ask, and we give those away monthly. If you go to our website, and this is for everyone listening as well, it's equal opportunity here. It's positivetalkradio.net, and on every page you'll see a connect form. And so if you subscribe to that, that's where we give away those monthly free social media editing, like video, audio, digital. I think we've even done logos for people before too. So we're more than happy to help people in that way.
Yep, we've got a somebody that we're doing a 30-minute interview for them to take the MP3 or the MP4 file, if it's video or audio, and they can take it and use it for anything they want to on their website or in YouTube or any of their accounts and that kind of stuff. It really is something that not a lot of people are able to do. We are, and so we want to put that out there for folks. So I would love to talk to you more about that and see if we can't, kind of not spend a whole ton of money for you, but nudge you in the right direction, because I love your book. I love the premise of who you are.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you, Holly. It was a pleasure talking to you. It means so much. Thank you for your support. Your support means a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm citizen of the world. This is our home, and we are all related.
Oh, that gave me tingles. I'm giving you a really big hug through StreamYard right now.
Yes.
And normally what I like to do at the end is to say, Parastu, you can say anything you want. If you take a couple of moments, but you know what? You just did. You said everything that needs to be said, and I really appreciate you being here. Holly, would you have anything to add before we go?
Be kind to each other, because each other is all we've got.
That's my line.
I just love hearing when you close with that line. I love it.
So again, thank you very much. Go get her book. Go to Barnes and Noble, and go ahead and give us your full name one more time and see if somebody has a shot.
Parastu Ahang Mehdawi.
And you'll be able to go to YouTube and Facebook, and it's her name is right there, and you can go to her website based on that. So go to Positive Talk Radio, the YouTube channel, and the interview is going to be right there. So and it's going to be up forever. So
thank you.
Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Kevin. Thank you, Holly. Anything
else, Holly?
I think all the important things. I think we check marked all those boxes, so we're good.
Perfect. If everybody will wait right there, I got to do this, and we'll be right back. Hey, thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. This has been a production of positivetalkradio.net. Please visit our website, oddly named positivetalkradio.net, for more details about us and our mission, which is to provide great positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to one another, because each other's all we got.